Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Today's game has Max winning the die roll and starting us off. He draws and plays a plains and passes. Mathieu's land for turn is a mountain, and he ships it after that. Arja's first land is a tapped Windbrisk Heights, and he gets to hide away a card at the top of his library. Sammy plays a Verdant Catacombs, cracking it and losing 1, to go and find an underground mortuary. He'll surveil 1, but passes while searching so the game can continue. Max has a mountain for his turn, and he pays 2 for a Felwar Stone. Matt just plays an island, and then foretells a card and passes. Arja draws, playing a Concealed Courtyard, and ships the turn after that. Sammy plays a swamp, and then casts a Rampant Growth. He goes to find a basic, and passes while searching. Max's land drop is a tapped Myriad Landscape, and he then pays 2 for Glamdring, and he passes after that. Mathieu's got a Sulphur Falls, and he casts Seize the Spoils. He discards an island, draws 2, and makes a treasure token before passing turn. Arja starts his turn off by not playing a land, and instead casts Knight of the White Orchid, going to find a godless shrine to the field tapped. He then plays a command tower, and passes turn. Sammy's got a forest, and brings out an Ophiomancer before passing. Sammy makes a snake token on Max's upkeep, and Max draws for turn. He plays a Sunbaked Canyon, and then casts Lorehold. Since Lorehold has haste, he's able to swing her at Sammy, who takes the hit, and Max passes. Max gets a Lorehold trigger on Mathieu's upkeep, discarding a card and drawing a card. It doesn't matter what it is since he can't miracle it anyway, and Mathieu then draws for turn. Matt then plays a mountain, and casts Sleight of Hand. After the spell resolves, he pays 2 for an Arcane Signet, and passes. Max discards a card on Arja's upkeep, and draws, and Arja draws for turn, and then plays a Swamp. Arja then swings his Knight at Max, which connects, and after combat, Arja passes. Sammy's upkeep has Max not using the Lorehold trigger this time around, and Sammy just draws for turn. He then plays a forest for turn, and main phase casts a Deadly Dispute, sacrificing the snake token. This has him drawing 2 more cards and making a treasure token. Sammy then uses the treasure immediately, along with the rest of his mana to help cast Errasta of the Endless Web. With the spider on the stack, Arja puts to stack a Secure the Wastes, paying 4 into the X. This has him making 4 soldier tokens, and Errasta then resolves. Max isn't the only one with upkeep triggers, as Sammy gets an Ophiomancer trigger to make himself a snake. Max then draws, and plays a tapped Temple of Triumph, and scries 1. He then gears up Lorehold with Glamdring, and he goes to combat, swinging Lorehold at Mathieu. Before damage, Mathieu uses Prismari's command, and picks the modes of destroying an artifact and making a treasure, targeting Glamdring with it. This is Sammy gaining a spider token from Errasta. Responding to this, Max casts a Bolt Bend, and redirects the target to Mathieu's own Arcane Signet, and Sammy makes another spider token. Matt then takes the hit for 7, and Glamdring's trigger goes off. Max has nothing to cast though, and just has to pass. On Matt's upkeep, Max discards a mountain, and draws, and Mathieu then draws for turn, and plays out a mountain. He follows up by casting a Goldspan Dragon. He then swings the dragon at Max, and makes it treasure on attack. Max then takes the hit, and Matt passes. Arja's turn has him starting off by casting Silverquill, and he goes straight to combat. He goes at Max with 3 soldier tokens, which is enough for the Windbrisk Heights trigger. This lets Arja cast Battle Screech for free, and uses the casualty ability from Silverquill and sacrifices a soldier token to copy it. This gives him a total of 4 bird tokens, and the creatures then connect. Arch's second main phase then has him flashing back Battle Screech by tapping his birds, and he copies it with Casualty again by sacrificing another soldier token. This gets him 4 more bird tokens, and Sammy gains a second spider for the turn. Max discards and draws on Sammy's upkeep, and Sammy then draws for turn. His main phase has him casting a Demonic Tutor. He goes to find a card to put to hand, and then needs only pay 1 green and a black for Witherbloom. Once his commander resolves, Sammy then goes to combat. He swings a spider army at Max. Max takes the 4, and Sammy then goes to a second main phase. Sammy needs pay only 1 green for the massively reduced costing Sprout Swarm with buyback. Responding to this, Max casts Path to Exile and targets Witherbloom. Sammy gets a spider from this, but Witherbloom is then exiled. Sammy goes to find a land, and makes a Saproling token as Sprout Swarm resolves, with the buyback putting it back to his hand. He then passes turn. Max untaps and draws. He plays a Plains, and looks at his graveyard. Despite the threatening combo on Sammy's side, Max correctly swings at Mathieu with Lorehold. Matt can't block, and takes the hit. Glamdring then also triggers, and this time around Max casts from his hand Reforge the Soul for free. This has the table discarding their hand and drawing a fresh 7. Max then pays 1 white for land tax and passes. Max resolves his Lorehold trigger on Mathieu's upkeep, and Matt then draws for turn. He plays an island, and then swings a Goldspan Dragon at Max. Matt makes a treasure on attack, and Max then takes the hit. Mathieu's second main phase then has him counting up his mana, and he pays 2 for an Underworld Breach, with his storm count now being at 1. He then uses his treasures, which sack for 2 mana, to help cast Prismari the Inspiration, and his storm count goes to 2. Mathieu then escapes Pyretic Ritual from his graveyard, which has Max responding by sacrificing Sunbaked Canyon to draw a card. The ritual copies then resolve with Matt making 9 red mana, and he uses 4 of it to cast Stormkiln Artist. He then escapes Seize the Spoils from his graveyard, and gets 4 copies of it. With that on the stack, Max uses Fury Storm, and gets a copy of it because he's cast Lorehold once, and he targets both of them onto the Seize the Spoils. Responding to the response, Mathieu casts Increasing Vengeance, and he targets his Seize the Spoils. He has a bunch of copies as well, which he's then able to loop together so that he has an infinite cycle of Increasing Vengeances, copying Increasing Vengeances, until he decides he has enough treasures. Once that's done, he then uses Counterflux to deal with Max's Fury Storm. The seizes then resolve, with Mathieu drawing a bunch of cards and making even more treasures that he doesn't really need. Matt then plays out Ral's Storm Conduit. He then escapes Inspired Tinkering from his graveyard, and before letting it resolve, he escapes Increasing Vengeance from his graveyard. He's then able to loop it again, creating copies of Vengeance with the Vengeance, which has Ral pinging down the table and winning Mathieu the game. Game review time. So this one was on a bit of the faster side and was one of the earlier Secrets of Strixhaven games we filmed, although even early on we knew that Prismari was going to be a problem. Unfortunately, Max had to use the only piece of removal he had against Witherbloom because Sammy was about to combo off, which then left him subsequently open for Mathieu to combo off. I think the strongest card this game was probably the Underworld Breach, followed closely by Prismari, since obviously granting Storm to every spell in his deck is insane, but being able to recur them from his graveyard seemed even stronger. I know he has other spells that do this, but Underworld Breach is just such a busted card. It's so awesome, I love it.